Open Heavens on the Go, Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. Topic: Take care of pastors. Memory verse: Ezekiel 44:30. And the first of all the first fruits of all things, and every oblation of all, of every sort of your oblations, shall be the priest's. Ye shall also give unto the priest the first of your dough, that he may cause the blessing to rest in thine house. Bible reading: 2 Kings 4:8-37. And it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was, that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold now, I perceive that this is an holy man of God, which passeth by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in thither. And it fell on a day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber, and lay there. And he said to Gehazi his servant, Call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for thee? Wouldest thou be spoken for to the king or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among my own people. And he said, What then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily, she had no child, and her husband is old. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, Nay, my lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thy handmaid. And the woman conceived, and bare a son at that season that Elisha had said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. And he said to a lad, Carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, Send me, I pray thee, one of the young men, and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God, and come again. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. Then she saddled an ass, and said to her servant, Drive, and go forward. Slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. So she went and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, Leave her alone, for her soul is vexed within her, and the Lord hath hid it from me, and hath not told me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thy hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again, and lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him and told him, saying, The child is not awaked. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore and shut the door upon them twain and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up and lay upon the child and put his mouth upon his mouth and his eyes upon his eyes and his hands upon his hands and stretched himself upon the child. And the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, Call this Shunammite. So he called her. And when she was come in unto him, he said, Take up thy son. Then she went in and fell at his feet and bowed herself to the ground and took up her son and went out. The message. In Ezekiel 44:30, God gave some special powers to his priests. They can place a blessing on or lift a blessing off a person. This is why you should do something to provoke a man of God to at least say, God bless you. That blessing will be fully backed up by God himself. A simple God bless you from a true man of God can change your story forever. When I moved from Lagos to Ilorin many years ago, I needed someone to do electrical works at my new place, so a brother from the church in Lagos came over to do it for me. After he was through with the work, he didn't charge me. He only requested for transport fare back to Lagos. I gave him his transport fare and simply said, God bless you, and he left. When he got to the motor park, he met an old friend who introduced him to some businesses, and to cut a long story short, he had bought a car of his own within weeks. Elisha simply said to the Shunammite woman that according to the time of life, 9 months, she was going to have a baby, and it was so. Although she didn't believe him, nothing could stop her miracle baby from coming because that word was backed by the power that God has given to his priests to bless whoever they want. Don't take the pastor of your local assembly for granted because you see him every week. If he is truly a man of God, a simple word of blessing from him can change your life. Don't wait for your pastor to tell you what he needs. Find something you know he will appreciate, and when you give it to him and he prays for you, say a big amen because that prayer is backed by God. When you give to God's representative, it is the same thing as giving to God himself. Matthew 10:40-41 says, He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. When you take care of the men of God around you, you are setting yourself up for divine blessings. Action point. Look for something that your pastor will appreciate, even if it is just a word of encouragement, and give to him today. Bible reading in 1 year. Jeremiah 31-33. Hymn for today. Now thank we all our God. The Open Heavens is written by Pastor E.A. Adeboye, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. God bless you.